Yoo-hoo running crew, welcome to the Dancing is Forbidden YouTube page where I, Ronnie, will be ranking all of the Season 1 episodes of AQUA TEEN Hunger Force. Great season. Chef's kiss. Can't get any better than this, folks. So this disc only has up till episode 16. I'm ranking all 18 episodes like we discussed on the podcast. In case you don't know, I do the Dancing is Forbidden podcast where I go through one episode at a time, breaking down all the scenes and pointing out anything I find, any information I can glean from interviews, commentaries, all that kind of stuff. And just, you know, if they mention something, I tell you about it. I say, well, who is Danzig? Let's talk about him. Let's talk about Danzig. So that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, that's all on this YouTube page, but don't listen to podcasts on YouTube, people. You can get that on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. What's a podcast, you ask? I don't know. Let's jump into this video. I've got set up here a fancy wheel that has all of the episodes in it. I typed them all out myself, a labor of love, so that we can have a little bit more fun. We spin the wheel, see how that goes. And you'll see behind me, I've got some AQUA TEEN DVDs. Don't play yourself. I don't have those up all the time. Those are for show, okay? Those are for the video. I don't always have those up. Anyways, I think we're almost ready to jump into it. First, though, I want to say, this is all relative here, people. If I put something in D tier, that's compared to Season 1. That's not compared even to other AQUA TEEN seasons. That's not compared to other TV shows. So a D-rated episode of Season 1 of AQUA TEEN is probably better. It's probably an A tier in any other goddamn media I've ever seen. So keep that in mind. Don't go say, how could you put that in D tier? That's compared to all the episodes, okay? Because if I just put everything in S tier and A tier, that's going to be fucking boring. So we're not going to be doing none of that. And yeah, I you know, these earlier episodes I haven't seen in about 4 months, but they're still kind of fresh in my mind. I'm not going to put in all the work to sit here and watch every single episode again to rank them. So gun to my head, tomorrow you're like, make another fucking ranking, god damn it. I would go to make it, and it might not be the exact same that I'm going to make today, but we'll talk about it and just kind of, you know, have some fun. So let's see here. Let's click the old wheel, see where she lands. Oh my lord, this is so exciting. What have we got here? All right, we've got Bad Replicant. I know it's cut off a little bit, guys. It's all right. Let's remove that from this. Let's get Bad Replicant out of here. And so Bad Replicant, that is the episode where the Plutonians make a comeback and they abduct Shake, and then in his place try and send a bad replicant of him, played by Matt Harrigan, who his loose mission is to take over the world, but there's some communication issues between the Plutonians and Major Shake, as he is called. And, you know, just craziness ensues. And I really like Bad Replicant, okay? Great jokes. I love the Plutonians. I've said it before, but I like the Plutonians more than the Moonanites. Anytime they're in an episode, I'm down to clown. Where is this gonna go? So not D tier. I like this one a lot. Is it S tier? S tier being supreme, the specialist episodes of all. I'm going to put this one in A tier, I think. This is a strong top A tier episode for me because there's just lots, like Major Shake himself is a great character. The Plutonians are great characters, and seeing the Plutonians' incompetence is very silly. So I'm putting that there. I'm very confident about this. I feel like we're starting really strong, guys. Let's spin the wheel again. What do we got? What's going to come up? I don't even know if you're able to read this. Will you even be able to read this wheel? I don't know, but I'll tell you what it says. Ooh, Mail Order Bride. This one, real fresh in the noggin here because we just covered it on the podcast. Get that out of there. Mail Order Bride, up to S tier. Mail Order Bride. It's a very, very, very strong episode about the main characters. Yes, there is Svetlana, who is the first female character in any episode of AQUA TEEN, but she doesn't really interact with them in a typical way because she doesn't speak English. She just runs away. She kind of causes the conflict in the episode. She's just the plot point in the episode. She's not really a character, which is unfortunate because there's some more fun stuff they probably could have done with that, but still, 10 out of 10 episode of AQUA TEEN. It's fun watching Carl and Shake kind of fight over her. Carl wanting to have sex with her, and Shake just wanting some home cooking. So between the two seasonal episodes here, we have Mail Order Bride and Cybernetic Ghost. I'm not putting it there yet. I'm just talking about them compared to each other. They both came out around Christmas time in 2002, and Cybernetic Ghost being more focused on the villain here, while Mail Order Bride is more focused on the characters, and you get some really great character interactions. I like seeing Shake and Carl try to work together to get back into Carl's house to get Svetlana out. all sorts of wackiness. So that's a great episode. So let's spin the wheel again. And so far, I think things will get saucy once we start to have episodes duke it out here. So let's see what we have. Space conflict from beyond Pluto. All right. That, if I recall, and I do recall because I've got it written right here on the other monitor. That's what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at my notes. Well, not really notes, just the ratings that I gave them in the podcast episodes. Because after every podcast episode, I rate the episode of AQUA TEEN. Space Conflict from Beyond Pluto was the first 5-star episode I ever gave to AQUA TEEN. 5 out of 5 for Space Conflict from Beyond Pluto's up here. But how does it compare to Mail Order Bride? Now, this one, we meet the Plutonians. And again, I love their incompetence. I always laugh at how stupid they are. I laugh when they bicker because, as I pointed out, it's kind of like Oglethorpe is a little bit like Shake and Emery is a little bit like Meatwad. So it's fun to see that dynamic, but played out differently. Where does it rank between the two? I'm going to have to go... I'm putting this one above Mail Order Bride. Mail Order Bride has some great play between all the main characters, but I'm a sucker for a good villain and a good set of villains, and the Plutonians, chef's kiss, top tier villains here. We have Mike Schatz as Emery and the legendary Andy Merrill as Oglethorpe. You can't go wrong with this, people. It's a classic. Can't go wrong with the classic. Let's spin the wheel again. And I want to point out I'm doing this also because I'm doing a season 1 recap, and this is helping me kind of gather my thoughts on what my favorite episodes are, because I had, what do we got here? Cybernetic Ghost, hell yeah. I had an email asking me what my favorite episode of season 1 was, and I don't know, folks. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. We have Cybernetic Ghost. I'm not going to bullshit you. This one's going up to S tier, but where does it go between Mail Order Bride and Cybernetic Ghost? Or yeah, where does it go between Mail Order Bride and Space Conflict? So I did a Twitter and Instagram poll recently where I asked people, hey, which 2002 holiday episode do you like more? Mail Order Bride or Cybernetic Ghost: A Christmas Past from the Future? And you all answered resoundingly for Cybernetic Ghost. Mail Order Bride was in the running. It wasn't like a blowout or anything like that, but I think it was like 65-35 or something for Cybernetic Ghost. But people, I gotta go Mail Order Bride above Cybernetic Ghost, because even though the Cybernetic Ghost is great and that whole episode is just great from top to bottom, I like seeing the AQUA Teens. Like, we get more airtime from all the AQUA Teens in Mail Order Bride. We only get really a few lines from some of the characters in Cybernetic Ghost. So I'm going to go Mail Order Bride because, as I've said in the podcast, I like the slice of life episodes more. I like seeing just the main cast interact more, really, than throwing in villains. And now I know that kind of contradicts this being the #1 episode so far for me, but look, these are some legendary characters, so I can't be mad about it. And they're not too over the top. They kind of fit in personality-wise with the AQUA Teen, so it's always a good time when the Plutonians show up. So let's spin the wheel again. What do we got? PDA. You guys know I love me some Todd Barry. Can never go wrong with some Todd Barry. And PDA, are you excited? Where am I going to put it? Todd Barry, he's good. He's only in the last bit of the episode, though, but S tier. Now, look, these roles, I'm not putting everything in S tier and A tier, okay? These roles are giving me some of my favorite episodes. PDA is great. I love Todd Barry. I love Romulus, but before we meet Romulus, the whole episode is just a good time. We get the Trenton tar pits. We get them going to the Adirondacks and Frylock getting squished. We see that the characters can drive, apparently, because Shake and Meatwad drive away when the chicken monster alien thing crushes Frylock. So I think I'm putting this here. I gotta put this here because I love Todd Barry so much. But Romulus, as much as I love the character, he does get kind of old after a while. There's a reason he's really only in one episode. I know he shows up a couple more times for, I know he speaks at the end of season 2, and I think they show him visually maybe at one more point, but he doesn't speak. But the Plutonians, you can keep throwing those guys back. I don't get sick of them. So that's why I'm putting that below Plutonians. Let's hope for one that I didn't like as much, because at this point I'm just jerking off AQUA TEEN. What do we got? Ooh, Love Mummy. They heard me. The wheelofnames.com heard me. Love Mummy. If you listen to the podcast, you know I wasn't crazy about this one. Watching the episode for the first time in years, I was slack-jawed. I was like, nothing fucking happens in this episode. It wasn't as good as I remembered. Digging through it for the podcast, I did appreciate it more, but relatively speaking, Love Mummy's going in D tier. I know that might be controversial. I know some people are like, man, that's one of my favorite episodes. But in terms of making the podcast, it was annoying to always have a character who just said, you know, "Rah," who just yelled the whole time, yelling about a curse. And also, at some point, I might want to rank all the AQUA TEEN villains. I don't think I'll do it just for season 1 because there aren't a whole lot. But towards the end of the series, I will rank the villains. Love Mummy ranks towards my bottom. Spoiler alert, because he doesn't have a personality. You know, it's kind of you get some good jokes when you know, with the action Frank. Meatwad's trying to get him to ask for an action Frank Dow, or he'll curse Frylock. But outside of that, the episode is pretty slow moving, and it felt out of place to me compared to the rest of the later half of the season, where Dave and Matt are getting real tight with their writing, and this is just a real slow episode, and yeah, probably the worst villain of AQUA TEEN in general. So, sorry, Love Mummy, but you're living at the bottom there. He's back down into the crawl space where he came from. Dumber Dolls. All right, Dumber Dolls. Let's see here. So, in the episode, the podcast episode, I gave Dumber Dolls a 5. But my memory of it, when I look back at it, it's a classic episode, a great episode. Is it an S tier episode? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's a high A tier episode. Okay, because I feel like the ending, they diverge a little bit too much from what I liked about this episode in the end. I like Happy Time Harry, played by David Cross, wonderfully. I like Jiggle Billy, played by Dave Willis, wonderfully, of course. And I like how all that plays with Meatwad, but it gets kind of old in this episode. Meatwad's depressed the whole time. That kind of grates on me because that's not, like, that is funny at first, but that's not what we want Meatwad for. And I realize that the subverting what you expect Meatwad to be is where the humor comes from, but do we need a whole episode of that? I don't know. I think it's a great episode, but when I showed this to people who weren't familiar with AQUA TEEN, I immediately regretted it because it is not indicative of AQUA TEEN as a whole, because you don't learn about Meatwad really because he's just sad most of the time. High A tier isn't bad, folks, okay? I know there's some people like, oh, it's the best episode. I don't disagree that, you know, I could see why someone would think that, but for me, high A tier. Still a great one. And I forgot to add it from our wheel here, so if we get Dumber Dolls again, we'll kick it out, okay? Okay, so now we have Escape from Leprecopolis, the second episode of the season, of the series. The first to air officially, though. Let's see here. Escape from Leprecopolis. What did I rank it in the podcast? Okay, that's interesting. Escape from Leprecopolis. There's some good lines in this one. You know, the characters are a little bit more like themselves than Rabot, but storyline-wise, I gotta give it D tier. They're still finding their footing here. I do think it's better than Love Mummy, though, because you have Andy Merrill, and the Leprechauns are fun. We have some good incompetent villains, really the archetype for a lot of the villains on the show. So it's enjoyable, and it's even more enjoyable knowing all of the deleted scenes, which I appreciated going into on the podcast. So check out that episode of the podcast, Dancing is Forbidden, if you would like to learn more about the deleted scenes and hear me talk through them and my speculation on how the episode evolved from them. But yeah, this is not one I'm recommending to someone really if they want to get into AQUA TEEN. It's not one of the better episodes, but not a bad episode. And again, this is relative. If you compare this to the later seasons, this one would rank up probably a little bit higher, but compared to the season as a whole, I think high D tier is very fair. Let's spin them again. What do we got? All right, jumping in with Rabot, the first episode of the show. And similar to Escape from Leprecopolis, the characters are really finding their footing here, or rather Dave and Matt are as they create the show, and everyone else who worked on the show. Rabot, the villain, not that interesting. The villain is similar to Love Mummy, but it's Rabot, guys. I mean, I can't disrespect this one. I can't put it in the D tier. That'd be too bad. I was at my fiance's dad's house recently, and he put AQUA TEEN on to kind of check out real quick the show because he knows I do this podcast, and you know, Rabot started playing, and it was fun to see that. This was last weekend, so this was fresh in my mind, seeing, wow, how much the show has changed. But, you know, everything is so slow. You know, they got network notes to speed it up a little bit. I think C tier is good for Rabot. It's a classic episode. You know, it spawned the phrase "dancing is forbidden." I feel like I'm doing it dirty putting it in C tier, but it's not a B tier episode. It's not an A tier episode. It's not an S tier episode. It's a classic episode. It's required viewing, but there's better AQUA TEEN episodes, and that's a good thing. They build upon this. They started strong, and they just got better for the most part, except for a few missteps, I feel like. But yeah, C tier. I think that's fair. All right, Circus. We've got Circus coming in, and I really enjoyed this episode. This is probably one of my favorite episodes. So I'm gonna put this, you know what? I think I'm putting this right here because Circus, I remember being really blown away by how tight the episode is storytelling wise. We get right into it. Every single scene is funny. There's just always stuff going on. And I like when they have Carl and Frylock in the circus watching Meatwad, and Shake is there as well. And the whole background is all like Scooby-Doo, some sort of Hanna-Barbera characters, all like cheering. It's really funny seeing these strange characters alongside those more normal animation style and just normal looking Hanna-Barbera characters. But yeah, Matt Malero does an incredible job as Randy the Astonishing, and just a fun ending too when Dave Willis comes out as the dad, and they just talk about, you know, impregnating the women and all this stuff. Classic episode, guys. I mean, Circus might be my favorite from this. We'll see here as I talk about these, but I think Circus might be my favorite. I was just blown away from top to bottom. I had so much fun watching that one for the podcast. So let's jump in to the next one here. I just love the idea of Shake selling Meatwad to a circus. That's just so funny. He says it's computer camp, but it's not. That's too nice for Shake. What do we got here? We got Dumber Days. So both Dumber Dolls and Dumber Days, I believe, are spawned from old Space Ghost scripts. And I know Dumber Dolls for a fact because they mentioned that. So I assume Dumber Days too, because it's probably where Space Ghost thinks he's smart and he's not, or something like that. So very fun. In case you don't know, Dumber Dolls was a Space Ghost script where Space Ghost gets a doll and it hates him so much, it wants to get away from him so much that it like dances into a fire to burn itself. Very silly, but they repurposed it. They repurposed a lot of these from old Space Ghost scripts because Matt Malero, Dave Willis wrote on Space Ghost. And that's, you know, as you probably know, where AQUA TEEN spawns from an old Space Ghost script that didn't get made. So they had a lot of ideas here in season 1. So Dumber Days, where does it go? I think Dumber Days gets a B tier. We gotta put something in B tier. I think Dumber Days is fair for B tier. It's a good episode. I enjoy it, but it just didn't blow me away, I guess. There's nothing else I can really say about it. It didn't blow me away. And also, I found it a little too similar to Ballonenstein episode 5. So that's a part of the reason why it's like not as original, because Ballonenstein did some similar things already that didn't, you know, shock me the first time I saw them, because it's like, oh, I'm used to Meatwad picking on Shake or whatever, or picking on people, because he did that in Ballonenstein. And I don't really like here how he turns on Frylock. Of course, it is a little funny, but Frylock is always nice to Meatwad, and Meatwad just starts picking on him and stuff. And yeah, not crazy about that. So that's where I put Dumber Days. A great episode though, don't get me wrong. I did enjoy that episode, but it's not one of my favorites. Revenge of the Moonanites. Okay. I know a lot of people love this one. It's a lot of people's favorites. I love, you know, I'm a music fan. You could probably tell I got the old keys sitting behind me here. So I appreciate one focused on music. Decent fan of classic rock. Moonanites reappearing. I think this is 4 episodes after they first appeared, so they come back pretty quickly. Moonanites, of course, a hit. I mean, looky right here, folks. We've got Ignignokt showing up right up here on the volume. What is this? 4? Yeah, volume 4 box set. He's a villain. He's a side character, unfounded. But here he is. Very popular characters. They are also on the Aqua Unit Patrol Squad 1 DVD as well. And yeah, they're just always showing up. So where do I want to put this episode? I think I put this one low A tier. I think it's a good episode, but as I've said, Moonanite's not my favorite. I love them, but they're not my favorites. And yeah, I mean, given between the choice, if you set me down at your house, you said, hey, Ronnie, we're going to watch Revenge of the Moonanites or Bad Replicant. I'm going Bad Replicant. And Bad Replicant and Revenge of the Moonanites, both the reappearance of these characters, the Moonanites, the first characters, the first villains on AQUA TEEN to reappear. But yeah, great episode. I like Carl. Don't need no instructions to know how to rock, and he deals with the Moonanites, which is fun. We don't see that a lot, where Carl actually is the one that deals with the Moonanites. But yeah, I think this is fair. I would rather watch these episodes over Revenge of the Moonanites, I think. But it's A tier, man. You can't claim that I'm disrespecting the name, okay? So we've just got 6 more episodes here. Let's see how it fills out. I'm interested to know too. I didn't plan this beforehand or nothing. Interfection. Okay. So Interfection, a step up from the previous episode, which is Dumber Days. But this is one that I had really, really fond memories of. And then when I watched it, it wasn't as amazing as I thought it would be. It's fun, but not a whole lot happens in it. So where do I put that? The villain, the wizard.com, fun villain, but not the most interesting villain, I think. I think this is high B tier, Interfection. it was really fun to dive into that episode because there's a lot of pop-ups I got to talk about, and I got to talk about a lot of internet stuff. But in terms of the episode itself, I think I'm gonna pad it out with B tier. I think that's fair, and I appreciate in this episode the way that the first half of the episode is focused on Meatwad and Shake, and then the second half is focused on Frylock and the Wizard. I think that's kind of cool that they swapped it, and we got to see Frylock do some stuff as opposed to it solely being about Master Shake and Meatwad. But I think this is fair. Yeah, I'd probably watch Revenge of the Moonanites over Interfection. So let's spin the wheel again. 5 episodes left. I'm just looking over the list here, making sure that I'm not like, oh, do I want to bump this up? Do I want to change this? But I'm happy with this so far. I think this is good. Ballonenstein. This was a fun one to cover because my memories of Ballonenstein opposite Interfection were not good. I remembered not liking Ballonenstein, but when I watched it, I ended up really enjoying it. And I ranked it quite highly. I think Ballonenstein, that's got to be an A tier episode. I think I got to do that. And I think I like it more than Revenge of the Moonanites. Ballonenstein being the first episode not to feature a traditional villain. We get Squirrely there and they kind of have to deal with that, but that's towards the back half of the episode. It's more so with Meatwad getting his powers, again, like Dumber Days, and electrocuting Shake and abusing Shake, which is funny. It's a nice, they turn it on its head because we're so used to Shake abusing Meatwad. And do what now? Classic line. I mean, anybody who follows me on Instagram knows I hit those bot accounts with it every time. Well, they're not bots because they always respond. They're like, hey, promote this post on some bullshit Instagram that'll get you 3 likes. And I say, do what now? And then they always like it and they're like, post it to the page. I'm like, okay. So, great episode. Again, I really thought I wasn't going to like this one when I covered it, but I liked it way more than I remembered liking it. So, moving on here. 4 more episodes to go. That's a good episode. All right, we got Bus of the Undead. H. John Benjamin. A lot of people consider Mayhem of the Moonanites, Dave Willis included, to be the first real AQUA TEEN episode where they really knew what they were doing. For me, that's Bus of the Undead. I really liked Bus of the Undead. I love H. John Benjamin. I love Moth Monster Man as a villain. I think he's very funny. I like how nonchalant he is, how relaxed he is. And this brings in the trope of the AQUA TEEN villain appearing to be harmless, but then you find out at the end that they're not, because he ties Carl up and lays his eggs inside of Carl and all that stuff. And we also get the brownie monsters too, which is a fun kind of side villain there. But Shake and Moth Monster Man's back and forth is really funny, but at the same time, it does go on too long. And I noticed while covering this episode that does go on too long. They could have sped this one up a little bit, but I like when they go to Memphis. That leads to some good comedy. I think B tier is fair for this episode, but I think I put it, I'm not sure, because it's just a slow episode. Like the whole Shake being upset by Moth Monster Man does get a little old after a while because he just keeps doing it over and over again. Shoot, I think we keep it, I'm surprised by this. I think I keep it here. I think Dumber Days is a better episode than Bus of the Undead as a whole, of course. Again, just because they didn't really figure out the pacing of the show at this point. This is the 3rd episode. So I think that's fair. I'll keep that there. I might change it in a little bit, but we'll keep it there for now. And again, tomorrow, if I went to do the same thing, I might end up with a slightly different list, but this is what we got so far. And now we have Old Drippy. Okay. So Old Drippy, the first villain that we meet that actually isn't bad. He's not even a villain. He's just another character that shows up, played by Todd Field, I believe. And just a gentle, sweet character that Shake eats. He eats him at the end because Old Drippy is so nice. Shake gets a little cold, and Old Drippy's like, oh, eat me. And Shake does it, even though they realize that they have penicillin or whatever. They have medicine. Shake still decides to do it and kill Old Drippy. Let's see, what did I put this on the podcast? Okay. I think Old Drippy is B tier, but I think it's strong B tier. Fuck, this is tough. This is tough because Shake is really the villain in this one, which is fun. I think the pacing is better than Bus of the Undead, that's for sure. I think I put it here. I put it above Dumber Days. I think yeah, B tier, like that. So far so good. As you can see, I might be a fan of the show. These are ranking pretty high. We got 2 episodes left. 2 classic episodes, 2 great episodes here. We've got Mayhem of the Moonanites and MCP Pants. It's falling on MCP Pants. So let me remove that. We're done with the wheel now, right? We're not going to spin it again. MCP pants. I think B tier. No, I'm kidding. MCP pants. Fuck, man. This might be tied for my favorite episode with Circus, because like, again, I'm a music fan, so I like that there's a music component to this one. I like that Carl and Meatwad are kind of buddies in this episode. They're kind of working together, eating candy. They both get addicted to the song. We have MC Chris, who just elevates this one so much. I think this one is my favorite. Circus is a great episode. I don't mean it a disservice, but I mean, you got MC Chris in this one. You have a funny reoccurring villain. I don't think that Randy the Astonishing comes back, because what else would they have him do? MCP Pants comes back a few times and is funny every single time. It's always a treat. I think that's my favorite one. So after that, we have Mayhem and the Moonanites. As I've said, I'm not as hot on the Moonanites as other people are. I appreciate them. I respect what they've done for this show, and I like them. It's not like I dislike them, but their attitude gets kind of old to me. But I do like how they influence Meatwad. So I think I put this one... I think I put it here, honestly, because I like all these episodes more than Mayhem and the Moonanites. So I think that's a fair place for it. So yeah, guys, I guess this is from my memory of the past 4 months of covering the show extensively, this is my ranking for season 1, and looks good to me. Now I can save this, and what I think I'll do is once we do season 2, I'll come back, I'll revisit, and that'll be fun, because compared to season 2, which I know is a good season, but like maybe I'll be like, oh, well, compared to all the season 2 episodes, maybe Rabot is a B tier episode, you know, so some of this will change over time, and it'll be fun to keep doing this throughout the podcast run. As I do a podcast, I would do this in podcast form, but I would just be listing things to you guys. I think that this ranking works more in a visual medium, hence I'm doing the YouTube video and not doing this as a podcast. But yeah, this is my ranking. Let me know in the comments. I guess this is exciting because in a podcast, you can't really comment in one central place. On YouTube, you can. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know. I know I could have gone more in depth on certain things, but I just want to figure this out for my season 1 recap, kind of where my thoughts lied with this season. And yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm really just looking, if I had the choice between 2 episodes, which one would I watch? You know, for example, I'd watch, I think, Space Conflict from Beyond Pluto over PDA. I think that's safe to say. So I think this is looking good. Season 1, guys, it's a classic season. You can't go wrong with the season. Pop it in. You're going to have a good time. So it's hard to rank stuff that's good because, again, you give me a later season of the show, while there are good episodes in those later seasons, a lot of these would be elevated. They would move up. These would be better. So yeah, what do you think? Where would you rank certain things? Let me know, guys. Thanks for watching the video. And yeah, if you want to hear me go through every AQUA TEEN episode in depth, much more in depth than I did in this video, check out Dancing is Forbidden, available wherever you get a podcast. And otherwise, they'll keep popping up on this YouTube channel. Stay safe, everybody. Take it easy.
This is a good beat. Why aren't you dancing?
Dancing is forbidden. Dancing is